Hello and welcome to the Joe Ligato Show. I'm your host, Dr. Joe Ligato. And today we're going to be reviewing another behind the curtain article on Axios. And this tells us a little bit about what's happening with artificial intelligence. And I believe it's going to go into detail about what the White House and really what the Western world in general thinks about artificial intelligence and the future of artificial intelligence. And so this is an article called What AI Architects Fear Most in 2024. Okay, so it starts off with brace yourself. You will soon need to wonder if what you see, not just what you read, is real across every social media platform. And so I've already seen this. There's a ton of image generation. There's a ton of articles being generated, things like ChatGPT, Bard. I can't remember. There's another pretty big one aside from Bard. I believe it also begins with a B. I can't remember. Bing. Bing is what it's called. I think that was a horrible idea to call it Bing, by the way. Because you're just naming it after your Internet Explorer thing, so whatever. So next up, it says why it matters. OpenAI and other creators of artificial intelligence technologies are close to releasing tools that make the easy, almost magical creation of fake videos ubiquitous, which just means it's everywhere. One leading AI architect told us that in private tests, they no longer can distinguish fake from real. Yeah, I've seen this. I've created algorithms like this. It's definitely the case. Which I never thought would be possible so soon. I mean, it's an AI arms race, and there's a lot of benefits to having access to this type of artificial intelligence. It can be used as a sounding board for ideas. It can help you learn new topics. I mean, I've used it to try to learn new languages. I've used it to help kind of create a skeleton, a framework for how to put together some presentations, things like that. So yeah, it's extremely helpful. So the article goes on to say this technology will be available to everyone, including bad international actors, as soon as early 2024. Yeah, you can already get this. I've actually been trying to put together a local AI that has access to all of my materials, so it can kind of just speak in my own voice. And there's also ones that can go through multiple steps. So if you give it something to do, it can go through it, like it'll create the outline of a paper, and then it'll create like bullet points, and it'll create like summary paragraphs of each, and then it'll create the entire paper. So it could go multiple steps. So yeah, I'm working on creating my own local versions of those that use my own words and my own materials, so it can help me put together a framework for some of the work that I'm doing. Making matters worse, this will hit when the biggest social platforms have cut the number of staff, placing fake content. Most have weakened their policies to curb misinformation. Another thing I hadn't really thought about is, I've talked about this in other videos, but 2024 is really shaping up to be the most important year in geopolitics. And so having this proliferate and become just common during that same year could actually be a pretty big deal. We're going to have to watch out for that kind of intersection of heightened political tension and increased artificial intelligence that is arriving in 2024. So stay tuned. 2024 is shaping up to be the most important year of any of our lives. So the big picture, just as the 2024 presidential election hits high gear, more people will have more tools to create more misinformation or fake content on more platforms. That's a lot of mores. With less policing, it will make 2020 a hot mess of misinformation seem like a safe space for sanity. A former top national security official told us that Russia's Vladimir Putin sees these tools as an easy, low-cost, scalable way to help tear apart America. Yeah, that's obviously the case, but I don't think it's particularly necessary that Russia gets involved for the United States to tear itself up at this point. There's enough reasons that the United States would tear itself up to begin with. U.S. intelligence shows Russia actively tried in 2020 to help re-elect President Trump. I think these people are biased because that's not actually been supported. There's been very minimal efforts to influence elections from other countries. In fact, the United States does far more to influence the elections of other countries than other countries do to influence the United States election, because they understand that the United States, no matter who's elected, they're going to work for the deep state. So I don't think they're trying that hard here. So it goes on to say top US and European officials fear Putin will push for a 2024 win by Trump, who wants to curtail US aid to Ukraine. I mean, I frankly don't think we would be in as many wars as we're in if President Trump got reelected this past term. So I don't know. I'm not a big fan of his, but I can't see him being worse than Biden at this point. How bad could it get? By 2025, 90% plus of online content could be generated by AI, according to some estimates. That could produce model collapse as AI chokes on data produced by other AI, not humans. That's an interesting thing I hadn't thought of. So we need training data to train our artificial intelligence to give us what we want to hear. So if we want like a structure for, okay, so let's say we're doing event planning and we're trying to plan how to put together a Christmas party. Well, if you're having AI generate the content, which other AI is going to use to put together the Christmas party, it could be so decoupled from how like a human being would put together a Christmas party that it's actually not helpful, it's not interpretable. And so you need certain data that is actually from a human perspective in order to train your artificial intelligence model in order to give you the correct answers. And so what they're saying here is that you might have no data left because it's all just AI created data that is training other AIs. And so it could be decoupled completely from what we want the AI to actually produce for us because of all the AI created data already in existence. And that, I mean, that might actually be a very legitimate concern. I haven't spent too much time thinking about it, but I might have to ponder that a little bit more in the future. So the article goes on to say, yes, the White House and some congressional leaders want regulations to call out real versus fake videos. A top idea mandating watermarking so it'll be clear what videos are AI generated. But researchers have tried that. The tech doesn't work yet and don't expect any new teeth from a divided Congress in the run-up for a presidential election. So going off of this, the researchers have tried it, watermarking certain videos. You have generative adversarial networks, I believe is what it stands for. Everyone just calls it GAN, which is where you have one AI trying to create something fake and another AI trying to detect it. And typically the one trying to create something fake wins in the end. And so it's actually really hard to defend against fake things when it's AI generated. It's far easier to create fake things than it is to detect them. And so, yeah, that's going to be an increasing problem. In any case, deciding which content is AI generated is rapidly becoming impossible as the tech industry rolls out AI into every product used to create and edit media. I've already seen this. So I play a few video games, mostly role-playing games, and you're already seeing AI voices everywhere. You're seeing AI generated content everywhere. It's become really impressive how much it's proliferated. And you're seeing things like voice actors like protesting because they're getting replaced by AI voices instead. And personally, the thing is, I would rather have everything have voice acting in because you can never really pay enough voice actors to voice narrate every single character. I think AI is going to be necessary for the vast majority of characters, if not all of them. Okay, so next it says, of course, it's a worry, said Reid Hoffman, co-creator of LinkedIn and forceful defender of AI. It's one of the places where AI and amplification intelligence could produce a negative outcome, he added. Hoffman argues that open source models free for anyone to use are the biggest threats. He backs and works on only closed models, including OpenAI's ChatGPT, because they can self-police. I don't like that. So the self-police AIs, they just don't work sometimes. So like it will flag a ton of content. Like if you're trying to question it about the recent Israeli-Palestinian conflict, it has a very clear pro-Israel bias that was built directly into it by the programmer. So I prefer open source because you could see what people are trying to restrict versus something like a ChatGPT, which restricts you based off of the biases of the programmers. So the article goes on to say the White House and some experts similarly have expressed concerns that open source models such as Meta's Llama large language AI model could be abused by bad actors. Others, including tech giant Mozilla, argue that open source models force accountability and transparency, which I agree with. Sam Altman, co-founder and CEO of OpenAI, told us this is an important near-term risk for the industry to address. We need a combination of responsible model deployment and public awareness. We also need continued collaboration across the AI industry, including with distribution channels like social media, he added. So there's a reality check. The article says the best self-policing in the world won't stop the faucet of fake. The sludge will flow fast and furiously. It could be so bad that some AI architects told us they're pushing to speed up the release of powerful new versions so the public can deal with the consequences and adapt long before the election. Ooh, that's actually pretty cool. So they're trying to get this out early enough that we can detect it and we can defend against it. I think that makes sense before a major presidential election because I do think that the next presidential election is probably going to be the most important in our lifetimes. And I don't think there's going to be any good candidates, unfortunately. The article goes on to say a senior White House official told us officials' biggest concerns is the use of this technology and other AI capabilities to dupe voters, scam consumers on a massive scale, and carry out cyber attacks. Another sick use, revenge porn. Most fake video content and early ways of AI misuse is porn. That's unfortunate. There's little that government or you can do to stop the coming flood of fakes. It's on us to protect ourselves. So the article says to be alert. Reading this column is a good start, but also be on high alert when you see things online and want to act. Spread the word. Make sure others, especially kids, realize a new problem is coming. Share this column or bring up the topic in conversation. Don't assume government companies will protect you. Clean your feed. It's okay to delete social media apps or at least be cautious about who you follow. Unfollow people who share nonsense. Share with great care. Don't like or retweet or post or repost things that you aren't certain are real. If you see something that seems dubious, it probably is. Engage. AI might freak you out. Sorry, it's coming. The more you know, the more you can make it a force for good in your life. Okay, so I don't really see this as overly new because, quite frankly, I see people as inferring a lot of things from just media and entertainment in general anyways. Like if you're watching a television show, people extract a lot of their beliefs from those television shows. I remember a poll where there were two areas in, I think it was South America, that were like right next to each other. One, they were both very poor, roughly equivalent in terms of their poverty level. One of those areas got access to soap operas and the other one did not. And you could see that the amount of births, the amount of pregnancies that women had declined in the area that had access to soap operas versus the area that did not have access to soap operas. And the reason for that was because in soap operas, they just had fewer kids. So they were emulating the people they saw on the completely fictional soap operas in terms of life or death decisions, such as the number of people you have in your own family. And so people don't recognize how much they're persuaded by fake things, such as television. And so I don't think it's going to be that much different from artificial intelligence generated images and articles and things like that, because they already were not able to defend themselves mentally from making decisions based off of false information. It's so weird to me. And like that research study like really spooked me. And I've started to notice that across my entire life. Like a lot of people get their entire moral compass from watching Batman and Superman. And so it's like someone who, some designers, some writers who had certain beliefs and then they caricatured any beliefs that disagree with their beliefs, managed to get the vast majority of people to believe something and use that as their moral compass for the rest of their lives. And so you're having things like the amount of children you have, your entire moral compass, they're already coming from television shows, which are not real. So this is nothing new. This has been happening for 100 years where people just don't know how to think through real from fake. Anyways, if you found this article and commentary to be helpful, to be useful, please give us a thumbs up. It helps us in the algorithm. Please subscribe to our channel on YouTube and Rumble for more content. We are producing content on a daily basis at this point. Please give us a comment in the comment box below, questions, concerns, critiques you might have. Thank you for watching, and I hope you have a good rest of your day. Bye.